Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is about project operations or Dynamics 365 project operations or project ops, whatever you want to call it. This product has been into the market for quite a while now, but it has been operating with different names before. So you might be hearing like project service automation or PSA or project services or various different names for this product. But in last couple of years, it has been rebranded as Dynamics 365 Project Operation. And this is the link if you want to check out the details from Microsoft. If you have seen my RSAT video, uh, this video is pretty much on the same format. It is a reuse video. I conducted a recent session with my peers, and I thought that the content from that session was quite helpful and it could be shared with everybody else, whoever wants to take benefit out of it. Just a disclaimer that this is not a demo video if you're looking for that. For demo, I might be recording a few separate versions later, but this video is more about, you can say, concept building or kind of context setting for the subject matter itself. Uh, just like if you're a completely new person who does not know too much about project management and project management accounting, and you also don't know about the Microsoft offering in this space, so this could be a handy video, a helpful video for you to be able to understand the subject matter and then be able to better prepare yourself to be exploring into project operation. So that's the main concept behind this video. So here I go with the topic list. And just to remind you that because this is a reuse video, you will find a few what I call editing glitches in the middle. I've tried to make it as relevant as possible for a generic audience. So kindly excuse me for those editing glitches in advance. So let's get on to it.
All right. If we now get into it, this is what I've kind of, while reusing the content from other presentations, this is what I've come up with so far in last 1 hour. So we will be talking about the concept of why this product is used, where it is handy. I have a flow which I prepared for another customer, so I'll be showing you that as well. And that flow will actually help us understand the overall business process associated. Um, I have a few slides talking about this concept, which I will establish how Microsoft is trying to achieve it. I mean, essentially, I'm talking about the CE and FNO divide. Like both type of platforms are being used to achieve this objective. So how Microsoft is doing it, I have a few slides for that. Then I have a few slides for how many different types of deployment models we have for this particular product. Then this is my personal experience, which I faced while selling project operations. So the customers ask us specific questions. So I've kept a slide for that as well, which is important for us to understand that how do we navigate around when we talk about project operations versus other offerings from Microsoft. Okay. For the concept, okay, I did not write anything here because I did not get any time. But see, the simplest concept is that when you talk about this topic of project management or project service automation, project management is a deep topic, right? It's a vast principle. It has various elements associated to it. Like when we talk about project management, we talk about uh, task management, we talk about schedule management, we talk about budget management, we talk about risk management, we talk about communication management, we talk about stakeholder management, and all those topics come into play, and theoretical concepts come into play as well. Not each and everything can be automated, but some of the elements can surely be automated. So a product which claims to be an automation product for this whole subject matter, which is the subject of project management, it claims to automate some pieces of it, not the whole function, because it's a very vast function. It can be it's a cross a discipline function. You will be finding project managers in let's say IT projects, in construction projects, in any other domain as well. Wherever we have a project. So, I mean, I think it's important for us to understand that how do we differentiate an operational activity versus a project. When you continue to do something in a continuous fashion, that you let's say you're working on a particular you're working with a support department or support team, you get a ticket for something. That ticket has an objective or a problem. You're trying to fix that ticket. Once the ticket is resolved, you will be deploying that ticket, or you will be communicating back to the customer, and you continue to do this effort multiple times, and this is what your main role is. So you're doing this day in and day out, right? That's one example, which is not a project. Another example, you're an accountant. You work for a company, you are an accountant, you are responsible to be managing the accounts receivable, accounts payable, general ledger. You do this day in, day out. It's not a project as well. Project is like we call something project when there is a finite scope associated to it with finite timeline. And then the third dimension is the finite budget, like scope, timeline, and budget. So in project management, we call it like a kind of a trica for the projects, right? Everything else comes around that, like quality management, communication, all that comes around that. But the main three components which will help you identify what is project versus what is not project is basically when you have a particular scope defined, when you have a certain amount of effort or number of hours or days associated to it, which is basically which becomes the schedule later, and then when you have a certain budget component to it. So think of it as a triangle. I couldn't draw it here, but that's what makes it a project. So now imagine that you have a project identified, whether it is in IT domain or any other domain. You can think about having different aspects of a project managed. So what this product does basically, now I'm coming back to the project operations product. It helps you manage the pre-sales processes of the project and the post-sales processes of the project. You can simply understand the post-sale as the main project execution part. Let's say we are implementing Dynamics we're implementing CRM sales module basically somewhere for a particular customer. Even before implementing, of course, we need to sell it, right? So we basically go down and try to sell them by showing them their capability. They basically show interest. We get along. We do a few meetings, and then basically, if the client is more interested, they ask for a particular quotation. We prepare a quotation for them. As a part of the quotation, we do some estimation of the work as well. And discussion cycle continues on and on until customer is satisfied. When the customer is satisfied, they say that, okay, you're too good. Now I'm going to do the project with you, right? So we basically sign up a SOW or contract with them. When the contract is created, then we create a project plan. Then we start delivering it, and we continue to do the time sheeting and all that basically. So if you notice in this whole cycle, there was a time when the project contract was created. Now, everything which was before this line, that was the pre-sales process, and everything which is after this line, that is the post-sale process. Means that whatever you do in the project execution stage, and when does it end? When the next line comes in, when the project is fully ended. Like there was a pre-sales stage, then there was a post-sale or a post-sales or execution stage, and towards the end there's a stage when the project is fully ended, and then you can say that the project is fully closed, and then you can focus on another project, if that makes sense. So the concept is that this product basically allows you to deliver both sides, the pre-sales and the post-sales. But the post-sales actually is quite detailed. You could be doing a lot of other things as well in the actual project management discipline, but not everything is managed. But things like resource assignment and resource scheduling, that is managed here. The project plan creation, that is managed here. The project timesheeting and booking expenses against the project, that is managed here. The project financials, that is managed here. I would say that the project communication is not heavily managed here, but you can have an extension built to be managing the communication as well. Project risks are briefly managed, but you can have much more better. You can do much more better job in terms of doing the actual risk management. All right. So this is a snapshot which I have taken from one of the demo which we did for our customer. So this particular, I'll keep on telling you whatever diagram is coming from, let's say, a Microsoft source versus something which I drew myself. So this is the diagram which I drew myself with the help of somebody from marketing team. It's not coming from a Microsoft documentation. And you see a mention of SAP here, so don't get confused. SAP is not part of project operation at all, because I'm taking this example from that particular particular customer's demonstration. So in their case, there was an SAP in the picture. That's why I kind of drew the picture. But I'm drew the picture this way, but I'm trying to use this diagram because I think this is quite handy to understand the overall concept. And I will expect a few people to be probably asking some questions here. If you look in this diagram, if you see the top one, it is there's a bar on the top, or there is a stage on the top which is saying sales and opportunity management, then project contract management, then resource management, delivery management, and billing and invoicing. So everything which is under this sales and opportunity management, that is where pre-sales stages come in. You see there are steps like a lead is created, it is converted into opportunity. Uh, I call something a top-down quote that is created, and then a bottom-up quote. Okay, I'll tell you the difference. Let's say somebody comes to you, he tells you that I want to implement Microsoft CRM, Dynamics CRM, and he just tells you that I have a budget for 300K, right? So and you calculate yourself on a high level. You say that, okay, this guy or this particular company has 300K budget. So you create a very high level quote, like you say that okay, I will do first 100K I will do analysis and design. The next 100K I will do the building, and the next 100K I will do the UAT and the support. And there's just 3 lines you create in the code, and you create the code, and then you give that code to the customer. Well, you can potentially do that, but as you can understand that when you do the estimation on that high level, um, it has chances to have errors, and you might be missing out something because you did not go to the details of everything, and then you created the code. So that code, I call it a top-down code. Top-down code is like, you have a number, you have kind of reverse engineered something from that, and you have created that top-down code. Now, there is another approach that when you get to sign a project, so you understand a little bit on the scope of it as well. You create a detailed project plan, let's say 20, 30, 50, 100 lines project plan, just like you might have seen some project plans in MS Project. People used to use that, or these days, if they're not using MS Project, that is okay. People just sometimes create project plan in OneNote as well, like just like a notepad or Excel file as well, or a Word document as well. When we create that project plan, which has like 10, 20, 30, 40 lines, and every line is given a certain estimate of hours or days, right? And then how many people will be working on that. And then all of that estimate gets trickled up or summed up to a total figure. Let's say when you do this effort for the same project, which we were trying to do in 300K, you figured out that no, 300K is too less. I will be at least taking 425K if I do the same project, right? So you could come up with that kind of a scenario. So this is where you create a bottom-up code. But the thing which is important for bottom-up coding is that you cannot do it if you're doing it just by using the sales quotation function. So that is where you see these topics on the top, which are still in the pre-sales stage, that you create a new project. Well, in this case, I'm showing that create a new project using a project template, which you could do as well. Or you can create a blank project, but you create the full project plan, and you basically add the effort estimates against the project steps. And then at the time of quotation, you import all the the details for the project into the code itself. And that is what the tool allows you to do. That, like, you create a detailed project, and at the time of creating the code, you can just import all the data from that, and automatically the quote values, which was previously set as, let's say, 300K, it will be changed to 425K, because your actual project, which was linked with this code, is has actually made it updated, right? So if you understand that. So this part is the pre-sales process of the project. Now let's go further. You have quoted this uh, to a customer, and that customer has now got a great detailed project plan in which a quote is associated as a quote is linked as well. At that time, you go, I mean, now this from this point onward, you might be doing some communication with the customer. And if you're using project operation, because it has a CRM component as well, so all those type of activities will be recorded into the CRM. Like, you'll be creating phone calls, emails, you could be creating meetings, appointments, etc. Those type of activities will still be done in the system. But there is no rule. You might do a meeting which is face to face with them, and you might not record that into CRM. So system will not stop you if you don't record a particular interaction. But it's a good practice to do that. So those type of activities will still be done in the system, but there will be no significant step happening until you try to either convert this code into a project contract draft, or project contract. Draft is the first stage, that's why I'm saying draft. Or if you don't do that, but you at least do one thing, because now you know that you're getting too close to signing a project deal, right? And you know that when you sign that project, you will need two two functional consultants, two BAS, one project manager, and let's say one technical architect, right? I'm just making it up. I don't know how much will be the actual estimate, because now you know that, because that is how you estimated the overall effort of the project. You want to advance soft book them. What is the soft booking versus hard booking? There's a When we book people against certain projects, or the certain tasks of certain projects, there are at least two main types. There are further types as well, but there are two main types which we have to be which allows us to give some which gives us some flexibility, basically. One of that is that if the project has come, everything is certain, this project is going to happen because customer has signed the document with us, so we will have to be now delivering the project, so we know that this project is not going away. So we hard book people, whoever is available at that particular time. We hard book them. It's like hard booking is like, um, you know uh, Mr. X will be playing the role of this, this role, technical architect role. And this guy, Mr. X, is basically, because the project needs him to be there in the first week, second week, then skip the third and fourth week, fifth week, skip the sixth week and the seventh week. So that's how the project plan is created there as such. So he will be hard booked on those days when he is needed. But if I compare that hard booking with a soft booking is like, I still don't have the project signed. Customer might still say no at the very last stage, although the probability is high, like 90%, 95%, but they haven't signed the project, they haven't signed the contract yet. So they can still say no. So in those cases, we soft book people. So you might say that, what is the benefit? Because, if you have to be doing it, you either hard booking it or don't book it. The benefit of soft booking is that, now imagine you are a resource manager who has to be managing all these resources, that who works on what project, or who works on which client on a particular day or on a particular week. If you have a advanced knowledge of, let's say, the month after next month, or the next quarter, that there is a project coming, and when the project will come, I will have to keep Mr. X, Mr. Y, and Mr. A and Miss D available, because the project is coming. I'm not booking them yet, but I'm keeping them available. I have in the back of my mind that there is a need being created for these people. That need will, let's say, turn from yellow to green because when the project will actually come. But at least the soft booking is there, that it tells you that the project is coming. So that's the concept. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'm just trying to fully explain the concept. Okay, so you can be creating this soft booking as well at this stage. Okay, at one point of time, the project will ultimately come. The customer will actually, and by the way, in this diagram, I'm showing one thing here as well, that costing and pricing data is coming from SAP. Well, that was a particular customer's requirement, and not in every case it happened. Like in this particular requirement, the customer was telling us that um, the costing for their resources, like what will be the hour cost, what will be the material cost, because we are just talking about people, right? There are projects in which there are material consumed as well. Material consumed means we are doing construction projects, so we need to be booking in you know cement, we need to be booking in wood, we need to be booking in other stuff as well. And sometimes there is equipment booking as well. Equipment is like, again, the construction example. I have a, let's say, I have a big machinery which I want to use as a part of the construction process. I use that machinery in different projects, so I need to be booking that machinery for a certain time because at this time it will be used in project A, and at this time this will be used in project B. So it is almost acting as a human resource basically. So all those type of bookings are made basically. So so what I was trying to say here is that in this particular customer example, excuse me, the costing data, how much every resource will be priced, that was coming from another system. So what we used to, what we were proposing to that customer was that that's perfectly okay. We can always build the integration between SAP and Dynamics. So we will build that integration channel and we bring the costing data from SAP. But in the actual standard example, we are more than capable of keeping all the costing and pricing data. There's a feature called price list, if you know, in the system. We use that feature to be keeping all the cost data within the system. We don't have to be always getting the data from the other systems. Anyway, moving forward. So we create I'm trying to spend some time on this slide because maybe if we understand the whole concept better, we will be able to understand the overall project operations better. Then we talk about the various other topics as well. And as I said, there could be other sessions later as well. But I think it is very important for us to be understanding this whole flow, which is projected here. So now project is a kind of created. The contract is created. Now the contract, there is a stage between drafted and finalized as well. So you can manage that stages here as well. Now, in this stage, you're basically hard booking the resources. It could either be new hard bookings or converting the soft bookings into hard booking with or without change. There is some extensive features around, let's say, you're a big company, you've got thousands of people, let's say, and we could have customers like that. One of which particular customer we were talking about, they had a lot of scenarios like they had, I think they had 500 people. So they asked a question that can we have an option to of system to be telling us automatically that we want certain type of people, and system tell us that, okay, for this particular skill, I've got 4 people. For this particular skill, I've got 2 people. For this particular skill, I've got 0 people. So what do we do, right? So that kind of a skill matrix is already configured into the system. And at the time of booking the actual people against the project requirements, we use that skill matrix within the system, and that functionality is used. So we do the hard booking here. And when the hard booking is done, you can say the project has almost gone into kind of an operational mode. Now you will not be doing anything fancy, or you can say like every day the project will be going on, but until the project is ended, there will be some continual activities will be done. Like people will be putting in timesheets, people will be recording their expenses based on the same data. The project managers will be able to track the progress of the project. They will be able to create the budget reports for the projects as well, which basically talk about this was the budget 425K. And this was the broken up budget into various different tasks. So if I've spent like, and let's say a particular task had 20 hours of budget, right? Or you can say 4 days of budget, right? Now my timesheet data is telling me that a resource which I assigned to this particular task has consumed 2 days out of the 4 days. So that is giving me a traceability that, out of 4 days of budget, I've got 2 days already used, 2 days are remaining. So that gives him an opportunity to think about, okay, I've spent half of the time, but have I achieved half of the value as well or not? That is what uh, that's another topic in project management. You call it earned value management, or EVM. That's basically tells you that, when the amount of time you're spending on something, are you actually producing some value or not? If you're not, then of course you're a little bit behind the budget. If you are, then you're at the budget. If you're actually exceeding that, like sometimes you spend less time, you achieve more, that's where you're exceeding the budget as well. So yeah, so all of that sort basically will happen here, continue to happen until the end of the project. And then there will be continual analysis on the project budgets and versus actuals, etc. And by the way, most of the projects, at least in IT industry, we do, and actually some other industries here is in Australia as well. So there's a concept of time and labor projects versus fixed price projects. I think you also need to understand that as well. The time and labor projects are more like, okay, same example, 425K project, it will be taking 3 months. Uh, so my agreement with my customer is that every month, how much amount of the time is already consumed, I will bill you for that. Because let's say for the first month, I consumed 80K only, like 80K worth of hours, 80K dollars, I mean. The next month, much more activity happened. So I spent 120K worth of hours, and the rest of the last month, I spent the whole of the remaining. So the time and labor type projects allow you to invoice the customers for the previous month or the previous period. The person who's creating the invoices for this customer, for this particular customer, they will extract all the data from within the system, that this is what the timesheets are, and they will collect all that, and automatically the system will allow him to convert that into an invoice with the rates. Rates could be different for every customer, so it can fetch the actual date for that particular customer, which are associated with this particular project, and they will be able to, and that person will be able to bill that customer within the system. So system can create the invoices by itself, and those invoices can be sent directly to the customer as well. And well, in this particular example, you also see that, I'm sending some data to SAP, because in this particular example, the customer was not sending the invoices from Dynamics. They wanted to send the invoices from SAP. So all they wanted was that you continue creating your timesheet data, or material consumption data, and you give us that data in our in a readable format, or you can say machine readable format, and we will build an integration channel which will ingest all that data into our system, which is SAP, and then we will run the invoicing against that. So that's what they wanted to do. But the standard system allows you to create the invoicing for yourself, and even the later part, because when you do the invoicing to anybody for any services, they do the payments, right? That's the natural thing. You invoice somebody, and they pay you for that invoice. So you have to have a process to record the payments as well. And then let's say that, the project is like only 1 month into the project. It was a 3-month project, and you have just spent 1 month, and just like my example, 80K has been spent, and you have sent the customer an invoice for 80K. Now somebody is looking at the financial health of the project, so they need to be able to know that, okay, 80K worth of effort was invested. Now 80K worth of effort was invoiced. At the moment, 0K has been the payment because nobody has paid us, or maybe after 2 days or 3 days, whenever the payment will come through, it will be 80K worth of the payments which have come in, and then it will also tell us, okay, how many dollars are remaining as well. So I'm just trying to make it easy for you to understand. There are much more complex level of reports which are created in the system. So yeah, that's what the function is basically. Generally, the financial management is done in other financial systems. Generally, CRM is not used to manage the financial management of things. That is exactly where the finance and operation integration comes in play, when you have a environment which has the CRM piece and also the finance and operation piece. And that's all. I mean, I've had several experiences before. Like in my previous company, we were using an accounting system which was based on Microsoft, but the PSA part, this part which I'm showing to you here, was not Microsoft. So we used to do all the similar things in that system, but when it came to um, migrating that data into the financial system, we had built an integration which was bringing all that data into our financial system, which was Dynamics BC, by the way, Business Central. I mean, so yeah, so you have this option at this point of time that when you're sending that data to the financial system, you could be either using the financial module of project operation, or you could be using another system as well. Okay, now let's get into, sorry. Now let's get into this diagram. Okay, this diagram is a Microsoft diagram. I did not draw it. This tells you briefly on, so this was the previous state. This is not the current state. When the project operation product was not called project operation, it if you are a little bit familiar with like 3 or 4 years back, how the Microsoft CE side offerings were, we used to have something called sales. Of course, we still call it sales. We used to have customer services. We still call it customer services. We had field services. We still call it field services. But then we had project services as well. Now we don't call it project services. I mean, we call that project services, or we sometimes people call it PSA. So this PSA or project services is what which sits in the, well, you can you can easily tell that this diagram is actually at least 2 years old, because it is saying CDS. CDS is not called CDS anymore. It is called Dataverse now. So if you're not familiar what is CDS, it is just another name of Dataverse. So if you see the purple block, that's where the all the CE platform things are there, and there's project service automation or PSA. The last version of PSA was somewhere in 3 point something. It never went to 4 point something. And then this was the finance and operation platform. And the finance and operation, even in the absence of uh, the project operation, there is a separate module which is called project management and accounting in finance and operation. Like finance and operation has finance module, as this diagram is telling you, then supply chain module, and of course the bottom block is actually kind of signifying the overall product, and it is just saying that there was a module which was called project management and accounting. And if people in the olden days want to use finance and operation as the finance system of their PSA, they had to build this data integration between them. So that was the previous state, but now it is not like that. Now it is like that. Okay, visually it is not that different. But what Microsoft has done is that using dual write, which is one of the integration technique between Microsoft applications and other applications, they have already built this integration for you. Like now the orange blocks basically here are, although under the hood, as you can see in this diagram as well, that there is one finance and operation platform, and then there is a CE platform. But the orange block basically makes up the project operation product. So that's a little bit unique about this product, that it is spanning two different platforms, right? It is marketed as a product, but technically they are not same products. Like finance and operation is a completely different platform. It has complete, I mean, if you understand database tables and all those logics, like finance operation has its own database tables and entities and workflows and all that, right? And dashboards and fields, etc. And similarly, the Dataverse has completely different architecture and completely different structure. But yes, you have capability to integrate both of them. But they're not similar products essentially, right? They're different products. So that's what Microsoft has done, because the subject matter or the business domain for these two things were same. So they have kind of built a very strong standard, or you can say default integration between these two things on the both products. And they're starting to call this thing, the orange blocks here, as project operation. So this is where the project operation is coming from. Now you might be imagining, what is this small, this block, the green block on the left side, and this was there here as well. Okay, I tell you what. Um, and I need some people raising some hands at least. How many of you are familiar with MS Project? MS Project, like it has been there for 20 years or so. Has anybody? Okay, sure. So there are a few other people as well. Good. I mean, it's a dinosaur way of doing project management, by the way. So, um, but we still use it because some of the things are still better done in MS Project than other applications. But to be honest, if I'm doing project management for almost 12 years, I use MS Project only like 20 to 30%, to be honest. I'm more fond of using online platforms, like the various platforms. I can talk about that later. Anyway, project for the web, you can say a simple yet kind of a funkier version of MS Project on the web. Like, it allows you the same capability. It can allow you to create project tasks one by one. You can create Gantt charts as well, like you can assign people, etc., etc. But all of that is much easy to use, less cluttered, more modern than an MS Project. So project, but again, project for the web is a separate product. It doesn't have anything to do with Dynamics FNO or Dynamics CE. Yes, I understand, and I will say that this here, that the project for the web application itself, it is created on top of Microsoft Power Platform. Or you can say, because whatever is built on Microsoft Power Platform, it is actually essentially built on top of Dataverse as well. But it was a different product. It is sold as a different product. I mean, if anybody is interested, you can just Google it right now and say project for the web. They will know, you will know that, in like 10 seconds, that how the project for the web looks like. But that was a separate product. What I'm trying to say here, you see in this diagram, which was the old state diagram, all of these three blocks were different. Like, they were not associated as a single product, and they were all different. So when the project operation has been pitched together as one product, Microsoft has actually combined all of them actually. So project for the web kind of is embedded into the CRM side of the project operation. But I will emphasize CRM side or CE side or Dataverse side or CDS side, whatever you want to call it. Still, up till this day, the finance side of the project operation, which is this one, does not have components which will automatically render screens which are empowered by project for the web. Like, project for the web is right now used for uh, when you have to show the project plan, when you have to show the Gantt chart, when you have to show like a Kanban board, Kanban board, the cards for different things, the to-do list, uh, to-do column, doing column, done column, those type of things, basically. Again, funkier way of doing project management. So I think I'll move ahead because I can see the clock as well. Any questions on this slide and on this concept? Probably not. I'm, by the way, I'm hoping for people to be asking me questions later because, sorry, yes, Rahul.
How well does the dual drive work? Because I looked at it probably about 18 months ago and it was really shitty at that time.
Did you look at it 18 months ago and what happened? Sorry, can you come again?
It wasn't working as well.
Wasn't working. The integration, you mean?
Yeah, it didn't support all the different tables and all that. It just has a very limited set.
You're talking about the integration between the CRM and the FNO side, or you're talking about integration?
Yep. That dual drive integration.
Yeah, the thing is that it has been a bone of contention for setting up this environment. And I myself have been struggling in the past when I was trying to set up an environment which has both elements tied together. There was a long process to set up. Well, CE side is configured very easily, right? The FNO side, well, independently FNO side can be configured easily as well. But the issue is that it's not a straightforward path to build the integration correctly. I've just tried it again yesterday. Excuse me, and I'll show that in the end of the session. The demo trial which I've signed up last night has automatically created the FNO environment as well, which was my surprise, because almost up till 6 months back, this was not happening automatically. And whenever we used to develop that, we always missed something, and there were some limitations as well. Now I'm assuming, and this is something I just started yesterday, right? So I will now dive into that, and I will see that if the core scenarios of what I want, like for example, I want to be transferring the financial information. Like for example, if I'm raising an invoice, I want to send that data to FNO. If FNO is making payments, I want to send that data back to CRM because I want to show that to the customer as well. So I will look at those integration points and see that how this is working or not working. So I haven't tested it myself, but theoretically, this is what the concept is. And you will need to appreciate that the whole product, and it's not our fault, it's Microsoft's fault that, I don't know, the concept has been there for last 2 years, but they haven't done enough to give us this playground easily for the people so that people can actually play with that on a day-to-day basis. All we know is based on the concept, based on our knowledge of FNO versus the knowledge of CEM. We are just trying to hypothetically build the cases as well. So yeah, we will have to, I think now it is actually progressing into the right direction. And I think the first step to that was that when I saw that yesterday, when I signed up for a trial, it actually automatically gave me the FNO environment, which was a big, I would say, improvement from the past. So I'll be, yeah.
The often the challenge is that the FNO exists in most of the environments, and they also probably have project actually data sitting in there. And it's a huge exercise to actually bolt on CECDS platform to actually integrate with that one, because it doesn't automatically provide the capability to sync the data from an existing environment and FNO to CE. It works the other way. You can push from CE to FNO, not the other way around.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think I'll need to switch this slide because this talks about that in a way. Because well, this is more on the functional side, but that question which you're raising is basically about what sort of deployment we are basically what sort of deployment is more suitable for us in terms of our project accounting management or project management, basically, right? If you are already in FNO, you might or might not want to invest into CE side or taking that kind of a investment. So you have a different option. If you are into CRM, you have a different option. If you have nothing, then you have a different option, I would say. Anyway, so probably that's a deeper discussion. We will have to be discussing that later. Thanks for asking, although. So because I'm looking at the clock as well. So this is this slide is about this 3 standard ways Microsoft suggests that we can have deployment models. One is the top one, which is called the light deployment, and second one is the project operation resource non-stock scenarios and the project operation stock scenarios. I think the key and easy difference is basically just you can see by the color coding as well. This one only is based on CRM side of the project operation. It doesn't have any doesn't have finance and operation at all. This one is a mix of both, and this one is only finance and operation. Although I have reasons to kind of argue on that. Again, I'm not designing these products, but I feel that even if you use, I think there should be a scenario that if you're going for this version, you can potentially still integrate to CRM, which nobody is stopping you to do, by the way. But I mean, Microsoft says that if you're using this version, and if you're doing everything here, and if you're integrating to the CRM as well, so then basically it becomes this environment, this scenario automatically. So again, that's a kind of a philosophical debate, but let's not go there. But basically, these are the 3 different scenarios we have for deployments, and obviously you can understand that let's say if you're going for the light deployment, so you will not, from a licensing point of view, customer will not need to buy any finance and operation licenses. If you're going for the middle scenario, you need to be having at least 20 licenses, because that's what you require for FNO. Having any environment of FNO, you need to have at least 20 licenses. So that's a constraint. You cannot do anything about that. CRM side is open, much more open, that you can have one license or you can have 200 licenses, doesn't matter. But in FNO, the minimum SKU is 20 license. So that's a bit of on the different side. I've got a few other slides as well. And this is all coming from Microsoft, by the way. I did not draw. I reuse some of the content from some of the presentation I received from Microsoft. Okay, so this is the light deployment. You can basically, Microsoft itself is saying that you use the system for the sales and the project management. And when they say project management, they're talking about the tracking of the task and assigning different people different tasks and giving them resource bookings and that sort of activity, timesheet management and invoicing to the customer. In this scenario, as you can see, they themselves are saying that you just keep this portion of it and you integrate with your other finance system. It could be SAP as in the other example, or it could be other finance system as well. Now, this deployment is the non-stock version, in which they say that basically you are not using the whole capability of the finance and operation, but you're just using the project financial part of the finance and operation. You're not getting the whole of it. You're just getting this part only. Or you can say, I mean, if you look at this diagram, so these function, as you can see, these functions still stay in the CE side, but in the last scenario, these functions also come into the project operation as well. So in the last one, so this is the diagrammatic explanation of the same concept, basically. I mean, they've kind of explained that the full project management and accounting functionality is not available in FNO, but projects are managed, and the main project management is happening. The resource management side of it is happening on the FNO side, on the CE side. In this version, basically it boils down to only using the project operations or the project accounting module of FNO. And this is where I have my argument that let's say, because I know that in FNO you can do the deepest level of project accounting management. You can still do the WBS management and all that as well. But things like, I mean, if you have to, let's say, use extensive features of schedule board, which you have in CE platform, right? You have to be doing the resource booking, you have to be doing hard booking, soft booking, etc. I don't think there is an alternate to that in project finance and operation. So I don't understand what this offering, how this offering is actually valuable. I personally feel that this is the most valuable offering of overall. Yeah. One of the real challenge we faced when we start talking about something like project operation to the actual prospect, they keep us asking because they are a customer. They don't know many things, and Microsoft, the way of branding products is, I would say, it is not less than terrible, because they keep on changing the names. They keep on kind of combining two products together and calling it one product. So, I mean, there's so much happening always in the Microsoft naming convention world. It's almost funny. So when we go to the customer and say that, okay, Mr. Customer, we are trying to explain to you that what the project operation does. So if they are a little bit into the market already and they know kind of that, what sort of products from Microsoft are available into the same domain, they ask us, oh, is it MS Project? Is it Project Server? Well, is it Project Online? I mean, and I'm telling you real examples. I mean, at least there was a customer which we did the demo for like 1 year back, and then there was a recent customer. I mean, and we got into quite deep level of engagement with them. We ultimately did not win the project, but I mean, we went into a lot of discussions with them. So one of the confusion kept on confusing them till the end. That, well, we kind of clarified to them later, but I'm saying that when we started the communication, they were like, okay, what is project online? What is project for the web, or some people call it like P4W as well. And then what is project operation, what is project services, what is PSA, etc., etc. I mean, you can keep on adding up to this list of Microsoft project offerings, right? And people really get confused. So recently, what we have started to do, and probably it's handy for us to understand as well. Let's look at this diagram. And this is not a Microsoft diagram. We drew it ourselves to help us understand better. Now we explain it this way. In this diagram, there are three different families of products being discussed. The right bottom is the Dynamics family. Well, I'm calling it a family. I know that we know that CE, within this family there is CE products or F&O products. So, but all of that I'm calling it as Dynamics 365 family, right? On the top one, I'm not calling it a family yet, but it's Power Platform. We all know Power Platform. I don't need to speak further. And you might argue with me that why did I show the Power Platform out of Dynamics family? Just for explanation, right? I understand that under the hood, Power Platform is kind of built on top of the CE or the Dataverse platform. So yeah, let's keep that box aside on the top. And then on the left side, that's the Microsoft, what Microsoft these days call 365 family, which has products like Teams, all these Active Directory and Azure basically fits in there. In the olden days, there was a product called SharePoint that sits in that side of the things, and all these Office type applications like Word, PPT, Skype, and all these type of things. OneNote, all they basically they belong to the 365 family. So when the project operation was not there, when even we did not have the capability of the project services on the CRM side, there still used to be something called EPM, or enterprise project management, or some. I mean, it is also called project server, or it is also later on graduated to be called project online. How it used to work, if I am just recalling my previous, like, I don't know, 10, 12, how many? I'm just trying to calculate. I think 15 years before. I'm talking about 2010. So yeah, 13 years back. Yeah. So we used to have a project server implemented. The project server was basically built on SharePoint platform. So it had a portal, obviously, because SharePoint is online web application. It's not a desktop application. Um, so we had desktop clients. MS Project is a desktop tool, if any of you are aware. So we used to connect the desktop MS Project with the project server, which is deployed on somewhere on the server. And there was a connection made. Like we used to create projects here, and we used to publish the project from here. And the projects we published, it went into the project server. And if somebody else can check out that project and change that project, and then whoever has checked out the project, nobody else can change that, and then they can check in back. So that sort of a model. So all of that was possible. I'm trying to say that all of that was possible even before the Dynamics era of the project offerings, right? And that all still exists. It's like Microsoft has not fully discarded all that. Like Microsoft still has MS Project. Microsoft Project can still talk to the project server, which is deployed on the somewhere on the cloud. So, but that all belongs to this family, and I've kind of used these icons here to signify what how do they kind of age. I'm showing like an old man picture here to basically show that this is kind of a like a grandfather application or a dinosaur application for us. They still exist. I mean, still it has a few benefits of it, but they still exist. So that's kind of how you classify the products like Project Online or Project Server or MS Project. Basically, their experience, they are good at whatever they do, but they're not modern. They're not. It's not that easy to integrate with them as compared to the other Dynamics applications, or it is from a usability perspective, it is less usable than the modern applications. Then of course Dynamics, we have Dynamics, we all know, I'll not talk about that, and Power Platform also we know. So we keep telling customers now that project for the web, although it came from this family, but Microsoft built that from the scratch using Power Platform. It was not like they just took a SharePoint application, or they just created a from the scratch desktop application and they built Power Platform. They build the project for the web. So they have created the project management solution based on Power Platform. Yes, that can integrate to the project online and that side of the world as well. But that's a separate application altogether. It just you can consider that as similar to what you can consider how you can consider any other Power Platform application. So yeah, so that sits there. And the project operation, which is keeps people confused, is the Dynamics family application because it has all the components which are either CE or FNO. And what Microsoft has done on top of it, they have kind of embedded the Power Platform functionality, the project for the web functionality from here into here. So if you ask me today that I'm a new customer, I'm probably using the previous way of Microsoft giving us the opportunity to manage the projects. Now I want to change to newest offering from Microsoft for doing the project management. So where should I go? Give me a roadmap. Explain to me that what should I do. So I will tell you that if you compare the feature set of what you're doing today in various different aspects with what you can do with project operation plus project for the web today, you might either be equally weighted in terms of the capability, or in some areas, the project online side might exceed in terms of the functional depth. But if you want to look at the future, if you want to look at how Microsoft is kind of shaping up things, if you want to look at um, uh, how will be the technology landscape after, let's say, 1 year, or even less than that, or well, I don't say 1 year. I mean, I'm just saying that we say that if you look at the future and if you look at how things are evolving, fast evolving, so Microsoft will not evolve this platform further. Microsoft has all of its energies in the project management domain invested into this side, which is including the Dynamics 365 project operation and also including whatever it is doing to a project for the web. And I'm not just making up this argument. I've read this at several places online. We actually asked this question to some of the Microsoft people we know as well, that when we are asked this question, what should we tell them? So what is the future direction? So they exactly tell us the same thing, that with time, they will continue to import the capabilities from here to here, well, I'm saying import just symbolically. I'm not saying that importing technically. Like they will continue to um, um, migrate the functionality from this to this side, but they will, uh, based on the demand, like if the customer demands it, they will do it. Otherwise, they will not do it. But they will not extend this, like they will not further future-proof this particular part of the application. So the future direction is either project for the web or project operation or a combination of both. When you get project operation, anyway you get certain capabilities of project for the web as well. But sometimes people ask that, okay, what do we do between these? So simple answer is that if you want to just simply manage projects and you don't have to worry about the accounting part of it or the resource management part of it, just go with the project for the web. But that is very simple. It doesn't have, like, you cannot do any resource management. You don't have access to schedule board. You cannot do well, time sheeting. I don't remember. I don't think you can even do time sheeting over there as well. Like it is pretty much like if you want to use MS Project on the web, that's what the project for the web is for you. Like you just create projects, assign that to team members, and let them do the job and keep on updating the projects just like you do manually as a project manager. And that's all it is about. But when you're talking about the holistic life cycle management of the overall project, you talk about this particular product. And yeah, in future, Microsoft says so far that they want to keep this together and they want to extend the both platforms together. So yesterday I signed up for a new trial. So previously, when I used to do that, like up till almost, I tried that like 4 or 5 months back as well. But when I signed up for a trial, I always got in, let it load first. So when I created a new environment, I always got this environment URL. I never got this thing automatically, right? But now I got that. So when I clicked on this one, it takes me, so this is the same environment they've set up. I think the org ID is also same. Yeah, org ID is same. So when you click on this one, you get this way. This is the typical, the project operation CE side. I'll be now diving into it further. And you click on this one, start a new session. You will get to the FNO side, which is cool. Previously, it was a headache basically to be doing that. So yeah, now I will be further playing with that whenever I have time.
All right. So this was the video. It was quite long. I appreciate that. If you have gone this far and you're still watching this video, I would thank you for that. And if you think that you have attained any knowledge and you have benefited out of it, so I will really like if you can leave some feedback in the end of the video as well. Now, as I mentioned at a few places in the video itself, that I think that this whole domain of project management accounting and using products like Microsoft Project Operation or Dynamics Project Operation, it's a vast domain. You will have to be playing with it, the product itself, to be able to know better. And you will have to be thinking about all the business use cases of where you can utilize the benefit of this product. And you can also think about how can you further extend this platform to fit it as per your needs. As you know, it is based on Dynamics platform, which is very much extendable. You can customize the small forms and workflows, or you could be actually making extensions which can connect with this platform and help you in different areas as well. So on this topic, I foresee a lot more content coming out from this channel as well. It will be including demos, it will be including a few quick announcements or kind of explanation or experience using certain different features. So you will need to watch this space for this. Thank you so far if you have been still watching. We will come back with more videos. Thank you and bye-bye.